Okay, on these next problems, we're doing order of operation. If you don't remember, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. The 4 steps of order of operation. You always do parentheses, then exponents, then multiply, divide in order from left and right, and add, subtract in order left and right. And what I like to do here, since addition and subtraction is the very last step anyway, I like to split these problems into smaller problems by looking for the plus and minus signs that's in between the larger pieces and knowing that I'm going to do that last anyway, so that splits it into smaller problems. And then the rest of the steps are old material. You need to go back and watch old videos if you don't remember how to find sines or logs or anything like that. But inside here, I have the sine of 30, which we know is 1/2. It's in absolute value bars. So we have 2 times 1/2, which is a value of 1, plus log base 2 of 8 is 2 to what power is 8? That's a 3. Minus, last step, 3 to the second power is 9. Then we're simply combining those. 1 plus 3 minus 9 is a -5. Next problem involves secants and cosecants. Now, there are certain values that you need to know how to find. The brothers, we call them the brother identities. The brother for sine is cosecant. The brother for cosine is secant. And the brother for tangent is cotangent. And what I mean by brothers is in order to find cosecant, we simply find sine and flip it over. Flip it up and down. So if I ask you for the secant of 0 right here, what we're first going to do is find the cosine of 0. We know the cosine of 0 is 1, so therefore the secant of 0, we're going to flip 1 over 1, and we still get 1. But I forgot to actually break this into smaller problems. There's 3 smaller problems. The secant of 0, again, is 1. Log base 3 of 27, 3 to the third power is 27, so on top we have 1 plus 3. The cosecant of 30, well, we're going to find the sine of 30, since cosecant is his brother. We're going to find the sine of 30, which is 1/2. Then we're going to flip it over, which is 2 over 1, or just 2. So the cosecant of 30 inside there, and its absolute value doesn't really do anything, so we're going to flip it and gives you a 2. So the top is 4, the bottom is 4, 4 divided by 4, final answer is 1. Let's do a couple more of the secant and cosecant ones just to give you a little bit of extra practice. Now, if the squared value is in the middle here, what that's actually asking you to do is find the cosecant of 60 and then square the answer. Find the secant of 120, then square your answer. So again, we have 3 different parts of this problem. Cosecant of 60, let's do that first. First off, cosecant is sine's brother, so we're going to find the sine of 60. There's your 60-degree value. We know that the sine of 60 is root 3 over 2. We got to flip it to find cosecant, which is 2 over root 3. Then we're asked to square our answer. To square an answer, you simply multiply it times itself. So 2 times 2 is 4. Root 3 times root 3 is actually just 3, so therefore our first answer is 4/3. Plus, our second answer, the secant of 120. The brother of secant is cosine. Cosine of 120, that's in the second quadrant. All students take calculus, so the only thing that's positive is sine, so cosine is negative. Cosine is 60 degrees away from 180, so that's our reference angle. The cosine of 60 is 1/2, so therefore my answer there is -1/2. However, we're looking for the secant, so we have to flip it, so that'd be -2 over 1. Then you have to multiply it times itself. You have to square it. -2 times -2 will give you a +4. Third part, on bottom, the sine of 30, we've already done, that's simply 1/2. So on top, we have 4/3 plus 4. In order to add those two things together, we need a common denominator. We're going to multiply top and bottom by 3. That'd be 12 over 3. So the top's final answer is 16 over 3. Divided by, the bottom is 1/2. In order to divide 2 fractions, you simply flip and multiply. Whoops. So we should be multiplying by 2 over 1. That's going to give us an answer of 32 on top, 3 on bottom. There's your final answer. A couple more of those just to remind you of how to do it. Maybe just do one more. So we have, in the big part of the problem, the only minus sign is right there. So we have 2 separate problems. However, we have an exponent right here. We got all this stuff in a power with a plus sign in it. So let's break it down into smaller pieces. First piece, I'm going to do the cosine of 4 pi over 3, which is 240 degrees. 240 is in the third quadrant. All students take calculus. Tangent's the only thing positive, so my answer here will be negative. 240 is 60 degrees away from 180. So therefore, that's my reference. The cosine of 60 is 1/2. So therefore, that part is 1/2 plus the natural log of e to the second power. Natural log of e to the second is saying e to what power gives me e to the second, would that be 2. So therefore, my power here is negative 1/2 plus 2. Before I can add, I need common denominators. Multiply top and bottom by 2. That's going to give me 4 over 2. So therefore, my power is 3/2. So you have 3 to the 3/2 power. Minus the tan of pi over 6, that's 30. And the tan of 30 is going to be root 3 over 3. So therefore, if we want to write this, let's see how we can combine this. This is a pretty nasty problem. So this right here is the same thing as the square root. The bottom number is in a root. The top number is an exponent. So that'd be the square root of 27 minus root 3 over 3. We can only add radicals that are alike, and we can only add fractions to where the bottoms are the same. So before I do that, though, that root 27, let me come over here and show you. We can actually write that as the square root of 9 times 3. We know the square root of 9, so we can bring it out front. That's going to be 3 root 3. So we now have 3 root 3 over 1 minus root 3 over 3. Our common denominator is 3, so I'm going to multiply this bottom by 3 and the top by 3. That changes that to 9 root 3. 9 root 3 minus 1 root 3 now gives me, those are alike now, 8 root 3 over 3. And that's my final answer.